pastor is the only one that's doing ministry in the church, then he will limit the church to 75 people. And I was amazed by that number because that's our average attendance, between 70 to 75. And so Rick said that what has to happen is that the pastor has to train his leaders to be ministers, where the leaders begin to train other leaders. In other words, it is the pastor's job to train leaders, to train other leaders. And if he does not do that, then he's going to be limited to about 75 people. And so I say that one of the things that I've studied all through reading all those other books, it says whatever you need to do in the church is already in the scripture. And if you notice in today's lesson, what Jesus is doing, he's not just doing the ministry himself. He has 12 men that he is pulling aside to train. And so it's not about Jesus. Matter of fact, the title of the lesson is Delegated Authority. That Jesus is actually delegating his authority to the disciples and sending them out. And so I want to say, not only to Sister Larry, but to the class, that no, it's not about the pastor, it's about the people. And it's to the rest of the people. Yeah.
The reason I said that was because when I read the practical points, and I read all 6 of them, well, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 made me think of you. Not one, but 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 made me think of you.
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, let's take a look at it. And
I read them, and I looked at teacher. This is my pastor.
oh, you're saying there's a description of me?
Yeah, to me.
Although we're not named with the 12, we were called to follow God. Spiritual leaders are appointed to be servants of the people. God is the master. So it's again, it's the same thing. Although we're not named with the 12, we're called to be followers of God. That is me. But if I'm going to do what Jesus did, I'm not in the 12. I'm after the 12. So my job, if I'm going to do what Jesus did, is to take them 12 and train them and send them out, because he realized that the ministry was bigger than him. So I mean, I appreciate that. I appreciate that view. When we are sent by God, the ministry that he entrusts to us will bless his people. True ministry requires personal sacrifice to meet the needs of others. Thank those who share God's blessings, and we should take care of those who make sacrifices to serve us. So, I mean, I can, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I want us to realize that until we develop other ministers, in other words, I look forward to the time that I don't have to teach this class, that somebody else could teach it. I look forward to the time that I'm not the only person that's teaching Bible class, that I have other teachers that can do that, that can do a good job at it. I look forward to that. And if that happens, then I can go on and start teaching other classes. And that's what Jesus is doing. He is training the 12. That's what Rick Warren is talking about. If you notice, every time that Reverend Morris preaches, his family comes. See, different people attract different people. And so each one of you got folk that you are influential with. And that if you all were to put on a program or a service, you could invite those people, because you'll tell them, I want you to come to my program. And guess what? They're coming. And so it would behoove us, each one of you, if you had some type of ministry, that you could attract those people, that you could do ministry with them on a regular basis, and that's what's really going to make the church work. Because those people become your people. You become their teacher. You become their overseer. You become their angel. You watching over them. You notice Reverend Morris, his family came and talked to me and said, Pastor Davison, thank you for what you're doing with Terrell. They still call him Terrell, but guess what? His image has risen in that family. They respect him now, but they're also proud of him. And that's why they come. They come to support him because they're proud of him. They know the way he used to be, but they know the way he is now. And so now they look up to him and they depend on him for spiritual guidance. And so I hate his schedule because, you know, right now his schedule won't let him do some things I would like for him to do. But the bottom line is all of us have influence with our families. And so we could just get this car in gear where all of us could do ministry in some form or fashion. That's what makes a difference in the church, Dr. Reed.
Yeah, if you take the 12 that you're talking about, multiply that by 75. It's 900 people. That's how they grow.
Yeah, what?
You got 900 people. 900
right there.
And you've got them set up in a situation where they've got somebody, like you say, that they are drawn to, that are connected to that circle of 12.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's get into the lesson. Well, before I get there, before I go there, are there any other observations, questions that you may have to make sure that I cover? Or it should be something maybe relate but not directly. If so, just let me know. Right now, I'll set up. Continue. All right, turn this on. Let's see. Okay, wait. Let me set my clock so I don't go past the time I should go past. Okay. All right. So let's get started with the lesson. Any questions first? No questions? Okay, good. Delegated authority. When you think of delegated authority, what do you think of?
A leader.
Huh? A leader that's doing what?
Giving somebody else.
You can't explain a word with a word, with the same word.
Giving out authority. He's giving out power for others to do what he would ordinarily do. Like I give the kids tasks to do, so I'm giving them.
Okay, you want to?
Same thing, authorizing them to do the work that they would do, giving them the power to do the work that they would do.
Yeah, authorizing them to do the work actually that you are doing. You're taking your authority that you have and you're giving it to them and saying, now I want you to do this. That's what delegation is. It's taking, and as related to this lesson, it is Jesus taking his authority, giving it to the disciples, and saying to them, now I want y'all to go do what I've been doing. You all have been with me, Y'all seen me do it. Now, I'm giving you the authority to go do what I've been doing. And in essence, I'm not always going to be with y'all. And so, in order for me to train y'all, y'all got to go do this while I'm here. There's going to be a time when I'm going to be with you and train you. But there's also going to be a time I'm not going to be with you. So while I'm with you, I want you to go out and do what I've been doing. And then I want you to come back and give me a report and let me know how you did. Okay? So, delegating authority. Taking his authority, giving it to them, and said, now, y'all go do what I've been doing. So when we look at delegated authority, that's what we're talking about. All right, in today's lesson, we got facts. To see the facts of the authority the Lord Jesus has delegated. So we're going to look at what are the facts as it relates to what did Jesus delegate? And what Jesus delegated, did he delegate it to everybody? No. Or was it just the 12?
Just the 12.
So we need to know where we fit in. And there are some things that they were to do, and just them could do it. There's some other things that he delegated that other people can do. We got to figure out what those things are. So we're going to look at some facts. Let's look at some facts. I wish all the preachers in South Bend was in class tonight.
We're a factless world.
Because sometimes we get messed up on our facts. And in today's lesson, it covers some of those facts. And so all of us need to know what these facts are so we do not mislead our people. That's why some of the churches have stopped having Sunday school, because in the Sunday school lesson, it brings out some things that we should know. And so, then that way, if we had Sunday school, it'd help guide us on how to stay at a certain level. Let's look at some principles to act on his authority in obedience to him. And see, that's another issue right there. Now, if I give you authority, and if Jesus gave authority, he's not giving them authority to go out and do anything that they want to do. No. And that's one thing you got to understand about authority. That when someone gives you some authority, they're not giving you that authority to go and misuse folk. They're not giving you the authority to go out and you fulfill your own selfish desires. If someone gives you some authority, you're supposed to operate within that authority. You're supposed to do what they would do if they were there. You're supposed to walk in obedience. And sometimes we kind of lose that idea.
Yeah. Well, that's just like all the ministries in the church.
Yeah.
We should walk in obedience to, we should do what you would do.
Right. If the president of the usher board, when that president operates, they'll be operating, making sure that they're following the vision of the church. Don't just run it the way you want to run it, but is it according to the vision of the church? Are you fulfilling the mission of the church? And if you're not, then maybe we should take another look at that. Because authority has a lot to do with obedience. We have to operate according to the authority and in obedience to the person that gave us that authority. So we got to know that. I don't think we have a problem now in the church with that, but there was a time we did. People didn't understand authority. Authority is designed to to operate in obedience. Just like the disciples had the authority and they were to walk in obedience to Jesus Christ. That's the principle of authority. Operate according to the person that gave you that authority. So we need to remember that. I'm the president of this organization. I'll do what I want to do. Wait a minute. Are you God? Even as pastor, I can't do what I want to do. Because I've been given guidelines that I must follow. Because the authority that I get is from the Lord. And it is proved by the Word. Whatever God said, He said it in His Word. Whatever, I'm being led by the Spirit. Well, God's Spirit is not separate from Him. And God's Spirit is not separate from His Word. So you can always prove what God said with His Word. They do not contradict each other. So authority again is acting in obedience. How do you apply this? Application. To use our authority in life situation until He returns. Let's take the authority that God has given us and let's apply it to our lives until the Lord comes back. Again, we said that again. Let's take the authority that God has given us and let's apply that to our life. Did God authorize you to do a certain particular thing? If He did, you go do it. If He didn't, you need to stop it if you're doing it. That's the issue. Well, we're so footloose and fancy free, and we're bad about calling things, oh, that's traditional. That's old fogey. We living in a new day. Well, God's Word is old as God is. God's Word is His Spirit. God has always thought like this. From eternity past to eternity future. His Word is not going to change. Now, there are ways we can package it. We still use God's Word, but as time changes, we got to package it a little bit differently. But the spirit of the Word does not change. It'll hold up anywhere, anytime. So we got to apply it to life situations. And why this lesson is so important, that and I keep saying this, even preachers are misapplying the authority that God has given to us. And this lesson brings it out. In what area? All right. If I was teaching one of my business classes, I would ask this question. How did the author develop the idea of delegated authority? But since it's not my business class, I'm going to tell you that the way that the author developed the idea of delegating authority is 3 ways. A special calling, which is verses 1 through 4 in chapter 10. A special mission, 5 through 8. And then specific instructions and cautions, Matthew 10, 9 through 15. So this is the overall presiding thought. We talk about delegated authority, and the author used these 3 concepts to develop this idea. A special calling, a special mission, and specific instructions and cautions. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay? Go to text. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power, watch this, against unclean spirits, to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of diseases. He gave that to his disciples. That's what he gave. When they had called it 12, he gave them power against unclean spirits, cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of diseases. I need 3 people to tell me, what do you see in that? Let me get the farthest hand back. Landon.
Jesus had power, and he had the power to give his power to anyone that he desired. So he chose to give his power of against unclean spirits and healing all manner of sickness and diseases to his 12 disciples.
Okay. All right. Space.
What I saw here, it was the 12 that Jesus picked, the ones that he delegated the authority to. So he decided who the 12 were going to be, and he decided what he would give, the power that he would give them.
Okay.
And told them was the first thing that they had power to do.
Okay. All right. One more person.
When I read it, I thought about the lesson from last week, how he, the man with the palsy, how he told him to, you know, his sickness was gone, or whatever he said, and he told him that, you know, stand up, and it was gone. So I'm thinking he's giving them that authority to take the unclean spirits out. If they're paralyzed, they can make them walk again, and just do everything that he did.
Okay. Okay. Good. Very good. All right. You're on track. All right. By way of introduction, the introduction brought out various methods of learning. And they said you can learn in the classroom. People have internships. You know, while kids are in college, you know, during the summer they have internships with companies. Those companies are they're courting the students, and the students are courting them, and they're seeing if they're a good match. And so during that time, the companies are training them, but at the same time, the company is observing whether or not they want to hire this person at the end of the internship. And then the students is working for the company, and they're trying to decide on whether or not they want to work for that company. And so people learn not only in the classroom, but also through internships. They learn through student teaching. When I was in school, before I could get my license, I had to do some student teaching. I had to actually go into the classroom and teach from, I believe it's from February all the way through June. That's where I did my student teaching. But now it's an application of the stuff that we learned in school. And then apprenticeships. That's kind of like on-the-job training, where they literally put you on the job, and then somebody's there with you to show you some stuff that you've been in the classroom learning. And now it's the application of that knowledge, where you got somebody to walk with you to show you how to do it. Apprenticeship. And then I just mentioned on-the-job training. We actually learn best from actually being on the job. And so the bottom line here is that before authority can be actually delegated, before you put somebody in charge of something and leave them alone, they need training first. That's the idea. People need to be trained. And anytime you put somebody in a position and they have not been trained in that position, people suffer because they haven't been trained. And even when it comes, now check this out. Even when it comes to the church,
Same thing.
even when it comes to the church,
Most.
well, God saved me and God filled me with His Spirit. Yeah, but who trained you? You want to start a church, but who trained you?
The seal of God.
You want to preach, but who trained you? You want to teach, but who trained you?
Right.
You want to be a pastor, but who trained you? How many untrained pastors do we have? Where did they learn from? Who did they submit themselves to?
Untrained person.
Now, we could, well, the Spirit trained me. Tell Jesus about it. Did the Spirit train these 12? No, the man Jesus trained them.
That's right.
We rely so much on the Spirit. The Spirit did this and the Spirit did this. And the Spirit told me this. Wait a minute. Even if you go back to the Old Testament, what was Elijah? He trained preachers. Even in the Old Testament, where the Levitical priesthood, where they were trained to do what they were doing. And it doesn't matter if you look at Paul trained Timothy. Jesus trained the 12. When you look at all of this stuff, God intends for people to be trained.
They're not trained. They're
That's why you're gonna be our missions teacher until you train somebody to do that job.
Well,
Okay, I got it now. Okay, because we don't want nobody trained. Well, we do, but they don't wanna do it.
So that's what I'm going to show you. Even in today's lesson, what is Jesus doing? He's training the 12.
Yeah.
Because he is talking about the church. He's training them, preparing them for the church. And he started by, even before he mentioned the church, he started training them in ministry. Because really the church, he said, I will build my church. On this rock, I will build it. But guess who actually built the church? It was the people he trained. How do we figure that we can be pastors and had no training? How do we figure we can be preachers and have no training?
It don't last a minute.
And we mislead people when that happens.
Yeah.
Jesus trained them.
They put on the Spirit, but the Spirit is really any excuse for me to do what I want.
We blame everything on spirit. We line on the spirit.
Yeah.
And we turn around and mislead people with our good intentions. And some of us know we lying and we mislead people anyway.
It's like this whole accountability, once you grow the Spirit, it's, people think that you can't go back, you can't check it, but you really can, because we use the Word of God as our guide, as our confirmation.
Even if you look at the Pope, they look at the Pope as infallible.
that's what they say.
Yeah, but check this out. The Pope also said the earth was flat.
Yeah. Galileo kind of straight line.
Until it was proven he was wrong. But now the Pope's gonna be infallible, but the earth is flat. That was he declared. Now, the Catholics, guess what they're doing now? They said, we ain't making that mistake no more.
Getting out of that business.
Go in any Catholic church, guess what you're gonna find in there? What is his name? Madonna.
What?
The Madonna. You're gonna see a picture of the Black Madonna. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, Black Jesus.
And so, any Catholic church, you know that picture of the Black Madonna? That's what you're gonna find in any Catholic church now. Because, let me tell you why they got it in there. Now, they're not preaching it, they're not teaching it, but when you walk in the church, you're gonna see a statue of the Black Madonna there. You're gonna see a picture on the wall of a Black Madonna. We have the advent of the internet now. So truth can be found out. When the United States find out, now, you know, most of the black folk are talking about this, and so, yeah, them black folk say that, so, you know, they voice them have power. But here's what's gonna happen. When the United States find out that Jesus was black, guess what the Catholics are gonna say? We've had the Black Madonna in our church for hundreds of years. Yes.
In 2000, the Catholic Church on their first bulletin, January, sent out a bulletin. In that bulletin, they actually put it Black Jesus.
Yes.
That was 2000.
Yeah.
That was a couple of years after they apologized for slavery.
Father Hesburgh sent for the preachers to come out. We was doing something, he wanted to help us. As soon as we walked through the door, he walked us over to a statue. And he said to me, and some other preachers, it was just 2 or 3 of us that was over there. It was more than 2 or 3 altogether. But he took us to this statue and says, do you know who that is? Yes, I do. He said, do you really know who that is? I said, yeah, I know who that is. Do you really know who that is? Yes, I know who that is. Just in case I didn't know, he said, this is Jesus and Mary and Joseph. The picture with the mother holding the baby and the mother's on the donkey, got the man leading the donkey, that's the Black Madonna. And they call it the Black Madonna, that's what they call it, but it's Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. Jesus being the baby. So ever since they got caught on the world wasn't flat, they said, we ain't get caught no more, they jumping out ahead. They're not publishing the fact that they know, and believe me, Christianity hold a heavy debt to Catholics, because there was a time, and maybe I shouldn't go this far, that Christians was under such persecution that the most powerful Christians in the world were Catholics, and if it wasn't for them, and you gotta say God, Christianity would have been stamped out. But the Catholics were so powerful, they kept the Christianity movement going. Yeah, so we do owe a debt to Catholics in that sense. I'm not saying all the other stuff they teach us. There is some stuff that they teach. Mary, mother of God. No, she's mother of the man Jesus, but not God. But having said that, I just want to say, again, let me get back on the point of my introduction. People need training. And they need training for ministry. We need training for church. We need training on how to serve people. We need to be trained. And we can't blame it on the Spirit without somebody teaching us. We cannot blame it on the Spirit taught me. Well, I don't want you ministering to me that the Spirit was the only one that taught you. Because every time God got ready to do something in the Old Testament, guess what he did? He used somebody to do it. When he got ready to start a nation, he dealt with Abraham. When he got ready to deliver that nation, he got Moses. And when he got ready to teach them about worship, he got Moses. When he got ready to give the people a message, he used the prophets and the patriarchs. You've always used other people to do, even when he got ready to save man, he used a person whose name is Jesus. And now we got Jesus training the 12. I knew I was going to get stuck on this introduction. We look at here training for ministry. They do it in Bible colleges, they do it in seminaries, and even when they do it in Bible colleges, seminaries, it is authorized by church body. What did we do with Spencer? We trained him, and then we presented him to the church and let the church determine, does he have enough evidence? Does he present enough evidence to say he's been called? Can we turn him loose? Can we license him? Can we ordain him? What do we do with black? Same thing. We trained him. Look, authorized by the church body. Black has been authorized by the church body. Spencer been authorized by the church body. And now Morris, authorized by the church body. After training, evidence has to be shown. And the body have to believe it. Doesn't matter how many degrees they got. The people he's serving is going to have to approve him before he can go. And guess what? Either one of those three, if they get out of order, guess what I can do? I can call those licenses back. Authorized by the body of the church. The church body is the one to provide them with experience in preaching and pastoral ministry. Jesus trained his disciples and he sent them out. So training has to do with teaching them and then sending them. That's why we license preachers. Licensing them, saying, now I can trust you to go out. They don't need license as long as they're under me. They can operate under my authority. But by giving them a license, if you're my minister, now you can go preach at Bethlehem or anybody else who calls. That's what a license means. Now you're authorized to go to the pulpit. Without that license, you can't do it. Yes.
Okay. Question. No, just right now, but the training part, like, okay, Spencer, we use Spencer. He was trained under your leadership, but does that mean that he don't necessarily have to? Nobody else have to want him. He can just have license and stay here. Or does that mean that once he's trained, you know, he's supposed to just go out? You understand what I'm saying?
No, you don't just go out.
I don't mean...
It should be authorized by the trainer.
Okay.
In other words, and when I say send out, what I really mean by that is, and if you notice what this says, you train in preaching and then pastoral ministry.
What's the difference?
Preaching is part of what I'm doing right now. But pastoral ministry is tending to the needs of the people. Is how do we deal with each other?
I guess what I'm saying
is like if you're hurting and you call me, or if you're sick or you're in the hospital, how do I approach you? If I'm gonna give you the Lord's Supper, how do I do that? If I'm gonna pray with you in your time of trouble, how do I do that? Anything that is related to ministry in your time of need, that's what we do. We teach them how to do that. Teach them what to say, how to say it, what not to say, how to approach people. You need training for all of that. When you go visit somebody in the hospital, how do you enter the room? What do you do while you're there? How do you leave? How do you conduct yourself while you're there in the room? How do you approach the person? You don't walk in the room Sheila, girl, what's wrong with you?
No, you don't do that.
No.
No. If she wasn't sick, she wouldn't be in the hospital. It ain't your business
Right.
what's wrong with her if she don't voluntarily tell
I
you.
want you to know them.
You don't have that
Don't you
license.
ask.
It ain't, that's not your business what's wrong with her. She may not want you to know.
Yeah.
She just may want you to come pray for her.
Yeah.
And Reverend Davis used to tell us, when we go, to visit somebody, you don't just go and stay all day.
No.
You didn't
Not, just somebody you know you're going to see, you just show up to let them know that you're thinking.
Yeah. And then you also judge it by relationship.
Right, right.
Now, any member in the hospital, I'll go visit. Some members, if I know you're sick, I'll come by your house. I'll call you and say, can I come by? There are some members that get sick, I may call you, but I'm not going to ask you, can I come by? And I surely ain't going to show up at your house unless you call me.
Yeah, that's right. I got that.
And the reason for that is, there are some members don't want me there.
Too many surprises.
And what did Jesus said? In Nazareth, Jesus had to leave because people did not believe. So he couldn't do miracles. He only did a few miracles there. He had to go where he was almost unknown to do miracles. If you don't want me to come see you, I ain't nothing I can do for you. You hate I came and you glad I left. So I can't do anything for you. And Jesus said, don't cast your pearl before swine. Don't go try to minister to somebody and they don't want you to minister to them. One man, when Jesus got ready to minister to him, he said to the man, do you believe I can do this? Because he was saying, if you don't believe I can do it, I can't do it. Okay.
Okay, back to my question though.
Okay.
Like, if you license, Reverend Morris, okay, you license him,
Mm-hmm.
and he can still stay under your leadership, right? He don't
Yes.
have to go to another church, okay, that's what I want.
When I say send them out, that means they are authorized to go to other churches now to preach.
Okay, I was thinking that, but.
Yeah, it's not like you got to leave friendship now. No,
Right.
it's
But
not
they have
that.
to have your permission to go to another church to preach them?
Yes,
They have,
because they can run into trouble,
okay.
and they don't know what trouble they can run into.
And you're still there to guide them, right?
Yes, just because I have licensed them
Right.
or even ordained them, don't mean that they're footloose and fancy free. They still have to operate under authority. Now, Spencer's pastoring now. Now, let's say, and God forbid this ever happens, he start developing a ragged life. Then I would have a private conversation with him. Because he's not from under my authority just because he's pastoring.
Okay.
He's still under my authority. Now, I don't mess with it. I may call him and say, hey, how you doing? How's the church? I don't try to pastor progressive. He's the pastor over there. I just make myself available. You run in trouble, he'll call me.
And when they come under his leadership, he has the same authority you have, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, was going to have that authority over you? Even though he wasn't your.
Well, yeah, if I consider him my pastor, he can call me in, yes.
Is he your pastor?
Mm-hmm. I removed my membership from Bethlehem. I'm still a member of Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church.
If you'd have moved to here, you had yourself as.
I can't be my own pastor.
Okay.
I have to have a pastor.
Somebody to help.
You a member here? You is too?
Most pastors
But the
are.
babies are.
That's because I
They
follow,
have been
I
there.
follow my leadership. I follow the lead of my pastor.
And that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, Reverend Petty, that's what, Pastor Petty did. His
But your
leadership
kids
was
don't-
that.
Reverend Petty was a member
He was a
of
member,
Progressive.
yeah.
He was a member of Mount Olive, and then when Reverend Guy went to Progressive, then he moved his membership with his pastor.
Because everybody has to have a pastor, right?
Everybody needs a pastor, yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Everybody needs a pastor.
And somebody to talk.
Okay.
They have got it.
Yeah. Good message.
You're not Sister Davis' pastor.
Pastor Witherspoon is.
Are you supposed to go where your husband go, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But your kids are under you.
Mm-hmm. They join here.
That's kind of tying things together, isn't it, Pastor?
Yes.
You're keeping things close together so that you can keep it in order throughout that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. A special calling is the first outline. Conferral of authority. This is when Jesus gave them authority. He conferred his authority. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power over unclean spirits. So now, we have the conferral of authority. That means he gave them authority. He conferred it. And he gave them power against unclean spirits, to cast out those unclean spirits, to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. That's what Jesus did to his disciples. He gave them